Friends, fans, family. It's another episode of Back Nine Bets, baby. Episode 62. Don't roast marshmallows. That's fun. Marshmallows gave away outright from the get-go. If you are listening, you probably don't know who this is about. If you're on the YouTubes, you saw the thumbnail, might have given it away a little bit. But it's a reference from Inside Out, which is a really fun and hilarious animation about the emotions that live inside a person's head. You should go watch it at some point. It's hilarious. We have got anger as our main guy. So that's a bit of a hint to you if you're not familiar with where we are going with this. It is the 2023 The Memorial. I hate golf tournaments that have the in front of it. Like 2023 The Memorial. Like, let's just go with Memorial, like that's probably the way to go, yeah. But anyway, it's the 2023 The Memorial presented by MasterCard, blah, blah, blah. Sheesh, holy Jack Nicklaus. Anyway, we're going back to Murfield Village in Dublin, Ohio. It's going to be a fun time. We've got an elevated event. We've got some stud muffins in the field. Max Homer's getting his sister married, whatever phrasing you want to use there to justify that. But he's not in the field this week. And we've got everybody else, though. It's going to be a stud-loaded field. It's going to be fun. Let's dive into the week. Last week, we had Christian Bezuidenhout finished T21st at plus 320 for a top 20. So that was great. Just missed out on a top 20 there. Pretty much would have solidified a profitable week for us had that cashed, because we cashed Justin Rose plus 150 for a top 20. All the other bets sucked. We pushed on the Ricky Fowler Sam Burns bet in a matchup at plus money, plus 100. Ricky Fowler bogeyed 17, Sam Burns birdie 17 and 18. 3-shot swing in the last 2 holes. Push. Done. Like, brutal stuff. Denny McCarthy misses his first cut in forever. Siwoo Kim lands up beating Minwoo Lee, which we never bet. Corey Connors was the one bet we left off the Aaron Rai was a bet we left off the top 40 card. He cashed. So every bet that we left off the card cashed. Every bet that basically was on the card did not. So this is what happens when you come over to Back Nine Bets in 2023. We run atrociously bad. So that's what's going on there. We just got to keep powering through it. At some point, these things have to level themselves out. Like Bezzy T21 plus 320 for a top 20. Just missed out. So anyway, let's dive into the Memorial. It's a par 72. We got a lot of important stats to discuss. The thing about this golf course is it's a ball striker's paradise. Long and far off the tee, nice and straight is ideal. As you can see, accuracy 3% more important than tour average. Distance and strokes gained off the tee, not necessarily that big of a predictor of success compared to tour average. Although we've seen John Rahm absolutely crush it around here, it does help to hit it a long way and keep it in the fairway. So also there's been some remodels. These correlations can be all skewed. It is what it is. We're kind of rolling with them. What we do know, irons. Approach is king, especially at Murfield Village. And then around the green play, 9% more important. Like the reason the irons are so important is because greening regulation rates are so low. If you're coming out of the rough, it's impossible to stop this golf ball on these greens, basically, especially from 175 and out. But when you're missing about, I think, 5% more greens than tour average at a venue like this, you have to have solid around the green play. So that's what we're going to be shooting for here. Putting, 3% less important than tour average. So that's not necessarily that big of a difference, kind of hum-ho on bent grass greens. So we got the bent gents coming in hot and heavy. So as you can see here in the proximity world, we got about a casual 53% of strokes coming from 125 to 200. Basic, general proportions there according to tour average. Where we do see a major uptick in relative shot percentages is from 250 plus. It's those beastly par fives that the guys will be hitting very long irons and woods into on the 4 par fives. So we will have to make sure that we keep strokes gained on the par fives right within our world. Scooting on to the model, 100% for 2023. As always, we want to do our weighting for stats at 80%, which we will get to now. The other 20% is recent form, last 24 rounds, and strokes gained history. So guys that have performed here well in the past, 10%. It's a pretty correlative venue, this golf course. It's one of the top course history components on tour. For our general strokes gained total, we're going to be rolling with approach for recent last 24 rounds, 10%. And then we kind of rolling proximities. We're rolling year-to-date strokes gained. We're rolling green regulations and good shots. Those are the three that we really want to look at. And we're proportioning it according to the stats that we showed you just a little bit ago. Putting, kind of just scooting in and out, kind of 5% here and there. Nothing too crazy, a little bit of bend, a little bit of normal. And then around the green play, 15% total for that. And then bogey avoidance, 10%, par 5 scoring, 15%. So those two scoring stats account for about a quarter of our stats, which is going to be important this week. And then 15% off the tee divided by strokes gained off the tee, baseline, and then accuracy. So we kind of want some accuracy in there. We want some strokes gained off the tee. Make sure that you can keep it in the fairway, and then you can do your thing from there. So that's what's cooking. This podcast is, as always, brought to you by rotoballer.com. We're over at rotoballer.com doing fantastic things. The Stat Buffet model has been cooking with gas. It's one of my premium articles out there. Use code MANIAC, get 10% off. It takes what you'll see now on the model, and I take the top 20 of each statistic. And then you take it, and then you take a screenshot, plug it in the model in the Stat Buffet. So you can see the top 20 of distance, off the tee, accuracy, strokes gained off the tee on long golf courses. You can see the proximity numbers for weighted proximities. You can see good shot, poor shot, green regulation rates. You can see all of that. You can see the top 20 percentage rates for the guys that are inside each different salary tier. I've got it all there for you. Course history, comp courses, the whole shebang. Screenshot by screenshot. You can use it as a wonderful resource to research your stuff. It's basically a model in an article form. So go check it out. Use code MANIAC for 10% off. Get yourself cooking over at rotoballer.com. Spencer Aguiar is, if you're just looking to make money, just follow his bets at Rotoballer because he's up 12 units on the year in a market that I'm sure if you are watching have not been doing that well, especially if you've been following back 9 bets. But follow Spencer. We're just having fun for now. That's the thing. We're just going to drive through it. It is what it is. We're struggling. I think the live guys have got a big reason to do with that. We'll see what happens. Moving on. 7.5 minutes in. Let's talk about the model. Let's talk about who we're betting this week. We've got ourselves 3 outrights. We've got ourselves some placement bets. We've got ourselves a matchup. So we've got some fun stuff going on at the Memorial. Scotty Scheffler, Jon Rahm, Patrick Cantlay. Pretty much the 3 guys that are like the stud muffin cities of this golf course. They have got great course history, 1, 2, and 3 in course history. Hilarious. Then their recent performances, 1, 4th, and 3rd. Hello, like what's going on there? The ball striking for all of them, just fantastic stuff. You just know what you're going to get from these guys. I mean, if you take a look at their top 20 rates, it's Scotty Scheffler has not finished outside the top 20 yet. Jon Rahm is doing it 7 out of 10 times. And then Patrick Cantlay is doing it about 2/3 of the time too. So there's a lot to like. Then you can throw Xander in there too. He's been balling out. The upside's not nearly as much as the other 3 guys, but the consistency for top 20 rates is just nuts. So we'll discuss those. Scotty Scheffler, 11-3, tough to just 27% owned, 6-1 on the betting market. What are you going to do there? We can't bet Scotty Scheffler. He's minus 290 for a top 20 because he's doing that about literally every single time he goes out. So you can't bet him in the markets. They're just brutal stuff. I did see my man Sam Wagman have a Scotty Scheffler top 10 at BetMGM for plus 140 earlier on Twitter, which was a very nice number. Congrats on grabbing that. It's now, I think, minus 125. So that's what's cooking with Scotty's number. You can play him in DFS. He's going to be very popular. He provides you with a 6 out of 10 rate for a top 10. He's only won twice this year, I think, or once. No, the players and the waste management. So he's won twice. Playing nicely. Can't putt to save his life. That's the thing. As you can see, they're 93rd in a field of 120 people. Is Scotty Scheffler. But his ball striking is just bananas. So he's going to be doing that. The bogey, birdie, par 5 scoring all inside the top 5. 11-3, quarter of the field's going to own him. Quarter of the field's going to have Jon Rahm. They basically 1A, 1B. As always, Jon Rahm's short game, obviously just a lot more fine-tuned than Scotty's. So, yes, I think you're just going to have to sprinkle your lineups in here unless you have a massive inkling towards somebody. I think, the general consensus across the industry is you just got to play these guys. Between the 3 of them, 44% top 10 rate, 60% top 10 rate, 60% top 10 rate. Like, if you got one of them in your lineups, you're pretty much guaranteed between the three of them that one of them is going to be inside the top 10 at the end of the week. Very much contending. So that's what's cooking with these three dudes. It's a peculiar situation. There's definitely value on Patrick Cantley's 10-5. Duh. The safety there is solid. I think he's missed one cut. So is John Rahm. That's what you're getting there. John Rahm is 11 flat. What are we going to do with him? We're going to play the guy. I mean, how could you not? He goes to Murfield Village, where he's basically won the last two. He had a T10 the last time he played, and then COVID, he was leading. So he's got the best course history in this field. He's a crusher around this venue, and I think he seems like he's rejuvenated. He was going into the PGA Championship a little overworked. Hopefully he can bounce back this week. I think he's got, great opportunity to do that. I love what he can get up to. Obviously, John Rahm is a smash player as well. And then Patrick Cantley as well, too. I mean, just looking at what these guys get up to, there's so many pink boxes across the board. Patrick Cantley's played particularly well, because of the bent grass putting, which never seemed to show up for us at the PGA Championship for Cantley. But he did cash the top 20, and he did cash the top 10, remember? Then we go and bet Justin Rose last week, who's also one of the best bent grass putters, and he loses like 4 strokes putting or something ridiculous. We just can't get these guys right. He was one of the best iron players in the field last week, loses about half of those irons on the putting green, which is it's just how we go right now. We're just rolling with crap. So that sucks, but it's okay. We're gonna bounce back. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right. Bob Marley, we got the Bob Ross wig on, Bob Marley's mojos. We got it all going on. Xander Schauffele, Patrick Cantley, the two best buddies. Xander's made every single cut this year in his turn starts. His recent form is the second best in the field yet. Old X hasn't given it to us yet. Hasn't seen a win. His top 10 rate is only 30%. So outside of those other three guys, he's not giving you quite the upside, but the consistency is bananas. He's 10-2. That's not bad at all. Price-wise, he's going to be less than 20% owned potentially. We'll see what happens. Xander's also never cracked the top 10 at Murfield, though, in the past. So that's what's going on with Xander. His course history is 7th. It's stellar, but not whatever. It's not the best. It's not like these other three guys that are absolutely contending and have won. 2 of the 3 of them have won multiple times. So that's what you're getting from Xander. Are you comfortable with cautious, consistent floor, or are you looking for a guy that can only get 30% of his top 10s out there? I don't know what to make with him. He's minus 150 for a top 20. Can't bet him that. There's just a lot to like. The green regulation rates, like the long iron play, because there's going to be a lot of long irons here, remember? Look at Xander's stuff. Like the weighted strokes gain, he's 3rd in the field. That's what Cantley's problem is the irons is not nearly as good, but the short game makes up for it perfectly well. So Xander's iron play is just nuts. There's not a single stat that's worse than 8th. Out of the fairway, out of the rough, it's a bit of a concern, but there's lots to like from his iron play. When he gets onto bent grass, he's not the worst either. Solid stuff. Par 5 scoring, 5th in the field this season. So Xander's not a bad option at 10-2. Keep an eye on the ownership. I don't know. I guess he's not a bad cash game start. Whatever, he's going to provide you some solid consistency. $300 cheaper than a really good cash game, which I know Kenny Kim's on for Patrick Cantley. So that's what you're going to get there. These 4 guys in the 10K range, outside of Rory, who's all the way down here in 9th place in the model. So we'll get to him now shortly. But we don't have any bets on these guys. The markets are crap. Can't do anything. But might sprinkle them all into DFS depending on ownership. I don't know. Do we roll with Scotty? I think this course suits his no putting even better than the other course. But you never know. You just never know. So keep an eye on the ownership. All 4. I don't even know what to tell you. I don't again, we've got the studs at the top here. I prefer John Rahm. I think his upside's the best because of the short game. I think he can putt lights out. That's probably my favorite pick. And then I'll go Cantley, and then I'll go Scotty. So that's how I'm rolling there. Colin Morikawa is incapable of gaining strokes short game in normal PGA Tour events outside of California and Hawaii. He can only gain putting and around the green in majors. And then when it comes to normal tournaments, he is atrocious. Around the green, he's 46th. He's 99th. About as bad as Scotty, but he's not nearly as good of a driver as Scotty anymore. Colin Morikawa's lost strokes gained off the tee since the Wells Fargo, I believe I have written down here. Yeah, since the Wells Fargo. So he's secret weapon, which is typically accuracy off the tee, which is fourth in the field baseline, has not been showing up lately. So his game is kind of in shambles. He's one of the best approach players in the field, obviously, but the rest of his game is just not available. It's AWOL. So what you're getting with Colin, 9-9, decent course history, but the recent form is horrible. 22nd in the field for a guy that's the best iron player in the world. Not ideal. Sungjae M, speaking of broken iron play or good iron play, Sungjae is the opposite. Sungjae, has lost strokes gained in his last 6 starts, 6 rounds, which span over, I believe, 3 tournaments. So it's like in 3 starts, he's lost strokes on approach. His course history is not too bad. It's 42nd. It's the worst of the bunch here, but his comp course history is solid. He's got recent form that's pretty decent too. He just won a tournament in Korea, but the irons, the 87th in the field, they're just broken right now. So that's what you're going to get with Sungjae is a broken iron game. But if you think he's going to bounce back, he's the first leverage option we're going to be discussing today. He's going to be sub 10%, especially with those irons. You decide if you want to play a Sungjae that doesn't know how to hit an iron at a golf course that we've just saw. The key stats told you it's an iron-centric golf course. You got to be in charge of your irons. He is not. He's just not right now. So that's what's going on with Sungjae's game. He couldn't even get to a plus 120 top 20 bet because of his just recent iron play. I think he would probably be scooting past Colin if he could get there, if the irons weren't atrocious over the last 3-4 rounds. We don't know what's going on. Tom Kim, first bet of the day. Finally get there. We are cruising now. 7th in the model, Tom Kim, 7,900 smacks. He finds himself 7th in the model. Hello, Tom Kim. Hello, a top 20 bet at plus 220 on FanDuel. Sign us up there. The problem with Tom Kim's game is his recent performances over the last 11 starts is only 18% of the time he's a top 20. That's not ideal. That's not ideal. But what we do like about Tom Kim's game is I've got a note here about what he was up to. So he's gaining consistently off the tee since API, which has been great. The Arnold Palmer Invitational, his off the tee game has really turned around. So he's also in the last 3 events had 4 rounds where he's gained over 2 strokes on approach. So he's popping with the irons, and then he'll have like a negative 0.5 round as well. So that kind of comes and goes. He has major accuracy advantages over the field here, even with his potential, not like elite distance, but that has definitely improved. So it's not like he's dead last in distance. It's not like he's going to be left behind the pack. If you take a look at Tom Kim off the tee, he's 31st in the field. 31st, and we saw how important accuracy is here. He's 2nd in accuracy this year. So there's a lot to like about his game. The iron play is great. He's pretty solid out of the rough, considering he's not really the strongest individual, but he is a little tank. We saw what he got up to the PGA. Got a hefty little upper torso there for old Tommy Kim. But the last, this year, strokes gained weighted, which means across all the proximities that we're going to see the most of this week, prorated, blah, 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 he's 12th. And he spikes. His irons are spiking. The putting has been bad. It hasn't been good. There's not a lot to promise us about the putter resurfacing. However, we have seen it come and go. Yeah, if you live in the Midwest, you know about come and go. It's a gas station over here. Is Tom Kim going to give us the gas, or is he going to go with the putter? We don't know. That's going to be a questionable concern. However, the rest of his ball striking is good enough to go to Tom Kim at $7,900. Very affordable price there for someone that hasn't played this golf course before, but is playing some better golf. He's trending, missed the cut at the PGA, whatever. Took his shirt off for us. It was a nice show. We'll see. The bogey avoidance rate for Tom Kim, 7th. We know that this golf course is going to play difficult. He avoids bogeys. Pretty solid out of the sand, all that jazz, and the accuracy of the tee is getting him way the hell up there at 7% ownership or 7% weighting in the model. So we like him at plus 220 to win this, to top 20 this rate, to top 20 this tournament. Holy cow. So we like that. We do. And we don't mind him as a DFS play. 12% is a little steep for a guy in the 7-9 range, but we'll see what gets up to. That's Tom Kim. Monitor the ownership. It starts creeping towards 15%. We got some issues. Next up, 8th in the model, got the marshmallow brain himself, Mr. Anger from Inside Out, Tyrrell Hatton. Don't roast marshmallows on my head. Please, Tyrrell, we are looking for the marshmallows to cook this week. Bring out the s'mores, get the graham crackers, bring out the Hershey bars. We are rocking and rolling. The guy has been a juggernaut lately. 50% of his starts have been top 10s. Hello, in the last 10 of them. Let's go there. Let's find out why that has been the case. The recent ball striking has been solid. 26th off the tee, 35th on approach, but recently, the last 12, Tyrrell had a T5, a T3rd, and then finished like T15th at the what you call it, the PGA after being 7 over par. So there's a lot to go on, and we ask ourselves the question, oh boy, are we doing this? And yes, we are. Tyrrell Hatton, 31-1 at Circa Sports here in Iowa. Grab yourself a 28 out there. They're available still. The around the green play. How important is around the green play this week? Very important. He's 4th in the field over that last little stretch. It's typically not been his best attribute. Tyrrell kind of struggles around the week, 36th in the field. The putting has been pretty shoddy, but also guess what? The putting of the last 12 rounds has been much more concerted. We've loved what we've seen from him. Just he's trending, and we get a 30-1 price tag on him, which is not bad at all. I don't mind him at $9,300 either, 17% owned. The safety, the consistency, and the upside is all there. It's all there for Tyrrell. It's looking really good. I'm not a big fan of the guy. I don't like what he gets up to. Obviously, we made a meme out of him because he's Mr. Anger himself, reincarnate. But off the tee, 11th, medium golf course score at 9th. Just a lot to like. And then weighted good shot proximity, weighted good shot percentage. So when you are gaining over half a stroke on a single approach shot from all these different areas, he is 2nd in the field. We have a thunderstorm going on outside here in Iowa, talking about Tyrrell Hatton. He's changing the weather for us because we're talking crap about him as an outright. That's fine. We're going to change our tune. Look at this. Strokes gained out of the rough from 150 plus, 15th in the field. There's just so much to like about this dude. Outside of his temperament, outside of his Mighty Mouse mentality, we're going to go with him. To win this thing, 31-1, let's go. It's go time. He's been dominating these elevated events, been so close. It's time for him to actually win one of these things. We get a 31-1 price tag for him to do that. Let's see it happen. 9th in the model is Rory McIlroy. He is there because of the tee, the accuracy there is stuff going everywhere. Oof, boy. Well, we're going to, off the tee, it's basically a thunderstorm out there for Rory at 126. There's only 120 people in the field. So that's how bad it is. He's just all over the place, but he leads the field in distance. So that's what's cooking with Rory's game. It's the approach game has actually been pretty solid. We've seen some really poor putting recently. If you take a look at the recent putting at 61st, but he's actually a lot better on bent grass greens. He finds himself much more comfortable putting on bent. And he's got a reasonable course history here, 11th in the field over the last little while. But it's just like, it's just never really popped for him. You know, the putter shows life since Wells Fargo. Irons look good at the PGA. There's nothing better than a T18 in his last 4 Memorial starts, though. And it's like there's nothing in particular that derails his game. It's just there's one. He'll just lose around the greens one year. He'll just lose putting one year. He'll just lose on approach one year. Just whatever happens, happens. He just can't seem to keep it together, which is basically the same as Xander. If you take a look at what Xander gets up to and why he doesn't get as many top 10s, during a tournament, Xander will lose strokes during one of the rounds. About half the time in half the tournaments, that's what happens. He'll have just one bad round. If he's a perfect live contender because he'd just dominate for 3 rounds straight and that's that. But he has one mediocre round per tournament, and that's what kind of keeps him outside the top 30. Rory's pretty much in the same basket. A lot to like, you know, tidy around the greens, solid on bent grass putting, par 5 scoring is what he dominates on. 10th in the field, it's not terrible. But he's going to be like 13% owned at $10,600. He's 9th in the model, though. That is all the way down there. Only top 20 rates. He's one of the worst in this top piece here. behind Tom Kim. Only 29% of his starts have been top 20s. That's not good for like the world number 3. That's not good at all. And he's making cuts at a 71% clip. So, like, not playing a lot, not performing a lot. So, we'll see. Keep an eye on that ownership, though, because that could be a interesting pivot. But is it really? Nothing better than T18, and there's not a lot to tell you that he's going to actually play well here again. So, I don't know. Weird stuff. Moving on to Jason Day. So, Jason Day apparently lives pretty close to Memorial, like 25 minutes within distance there. His top 20 rate is 70% in his 10 starts. 40% of the time he's top 10ing. Love to see all of that crap. Just won at the Byron Nelson. Missed the cut at the PGA because he hadn't played a single practice round at the freaking golf. At the second major of the year, you can't just go out and just walk the golf course because you're preserving your mental stamina. That's very random to me, but whatever. Do what you got to do. He obviously just won a tournament. Around the green, putting, J-Day, hey. Like, love all of that about J-Day. The bogey avoidance rate, second in the field. Second in the field for Jason Day on the bogey avoidance side of things. Love what he can get up to. Off the tee, he's pretty solid. 24th in the field, accuracy, distance. Nice combination. On the long golf courses, he's 10th in the field in strokes gained on 7,400 plus. Love all of that. Around the green, putting, the whole shebang. There's a lot to like about. There's a lot to like about J-Day. And we go, yo, Darbo, about J-Day. Now, the funny thing about Jason Day, the funny thing about his game is despite having played at Memorial many, many times, having basically a home course advantage, he's only gained on approach once since 2010. One time since 2010 at the Memorial on approach. Unreal. When he did gain on approach, he finished, I think, 4th or top 5. Very nice stuff. Now, he had his best or second best strokes gained approach week at the Byron Nelson. So maybe it bounces back, but I checked. He lost strokes in 2014, 2015 when he was on a tear. He won 7 tournaments those 2 years, lost strokes both times at the Memorial. It's just like this golf course just gets him. It's his bugaboo. So Dobb says he's hard fade on J-Day. I know. I think it's weird. He just doesn't seem to do well here. But the course history is like 15th in the field. It's not good. It's not bad. For Jason Day. 94, 10%, whatever. But the bogey avoidance is like all of the signs lead to playing well, but he just doesn't. So that's Jason Day's dilemma. He's about plus money, just 105 to finish inside the top 20. That's not good enough as 10th in the model. So we're going to leave him alone in the betting market. If he scoots into the single digits, Jason Day at $9,400, I'll take my chances. The rest of his game is so good. I don't know why are you fading him, Darbo? What causes you concern? Let's talk about Matt Kuchar in the meantime then. Matt Kuchar sits in 11th in the model, and old Cooch Daddy, the best around the greens. The best around the green strokes gained. He's just a up and down beast. He's fantastic out of the bunkers. Got 147 of them this week. That's going to be important. His bogey avoidance rate is 3rd. It's 2nd behind Jason Day and 1 behind Scotty Scheffler. So, like, those are the guys you're dealing with when it comes to bogey avoidance rates. And Matt Kuchar is right up there. He plays medium golf courses, the 11th best in the field. Love to see all of that from Kuchar. The accuracy of the tee is top 40. Not too shabby. The recent performances are top 20. I don't see Matt Kuchar winning this golf tournament, but he's $7,500, and I see him finishing inside the top 20 here. We see him finishing inside the top 20 at plus 240 on FanDuel for a top 20 bet. Let's rock and roll, old Cooch. Let's screw the pooch, dude. Let's see what he can get up to. We love what he can do on the around the green play. And you know what? We said the par 5 scoring is important. You wouldn't believe Matt Kuchar's par 5 scoring ability. He's 9th in the field this year. He's a really good wedge player. So he doesn't necessarily have to hit it up by those greens. He can just keep it tidy. Hits it to his good yardage, knocks it close with a wedge, makes the putt. So we'll see what Kuchar can get up to. I don't mind him at plus 240 to finish inside the top 20. He's done that about a third of the time this year. We'll see. I like this golf course for him. He's got a pretty solid course history. We'll see what he can get up to. Trending in the right direction, old Kuchar. Victor Hovland, 12th in the model. Why is he all the way down here? Well, we know that Victor Hovland's strokes gained around the greens is 97th in the field this year. But if you take a peek at what Victor's been up to lately, did we have it written down here? He has been. Short game looks fixed, question mark, question mark. So the ball striking's through the roof. Victor's short game seems to be fixing itself. He hasn't been losing a lot of strokes around the greens in the last, I think, 12 rounds. So he's been he changed his coach. He's been working on the short game. Victor's long-term short game. We saw with Grillo. We didn't play Grillo last week because why? Around the green play, long-term, around and putting, long-term, Grillo's stats were sucking. But over the last few rounds, Grillo has been great in those departments. Like, look at Grillo's stuff here. Recent putting, third in the field. That includes last week, obviously, but around the green play is also normal. So why did we not? You can see when guys' games change, and then it pops. So, like, that's basically what we're going to talk about with Bezzy. But I don't know, man. It's just so difficult to handicap these guys without going through every single one of them. That's what we're going to be dealing with Victor. I think the around the green play seems like it solved itself. Over the last 24 rounds, 54th, which is much better than 97th baseline. So that's nice. Matt Fitzpatrick sits right in the next slot there, but Victor at $9,700. Ball striking beast, the accuracy. There's so many guys to like. So it might have to be a casualty of the ownership. Matthew Fitzpatrick has had the most bizarre situation at the Memorial. He's missed the cut, I think, 3 of his last 4 times and finished 4th. Last time he was out there, he freaking lost like 7 strokes putting. It was one of the worst putting performances of his career. So that's what you get from Matt Fitzpatrick, and I think we can take an advantage of that. The 15th in the field over the last 24 rounds isn't shabby. He's a really good putter. I don't understand why. We'll see. Around the green play, 20th in the field, bogey avoidance, 17th in the field, par 5 scoring, 12th. So you're going to get a guy that's 9K flat, 10% owned. Sign us up for some Matty Fitz. Let's go there. We don't mind him. For Ernie, it's now thunderstorming, and Ernie's panting under the desk. We don't mind panting over Matthew Fitzpatrick. That's what's cooking with Matty. He's only got a top 10% rate of 10%, top 10 rate of 10%. That's not good. But he's also 9K 10%. So, like, there's a lot of 10% going on here. We don't mind him. Wyndham Clark's an interesting character. The course history, crap. Obviously, he hasn't played well because he wasn't the Wyndham Clark we know about now. He's been putting well lately, and his irons are just bizarrely good. So very good, and they are good out of the rough, which is going to be necessary for Wyndham Clark to perform here because his accuracy is one of the worst in the field, although he's got a lot of distance. So he's going to be driving at 1,000,000 miles down there, but also at the same time, the accuracy is going to be causing a bit of a problem. We'll see. The medium golf course scoring for him solid. Bogey, birdies, par 5 scoring, all pretty standard stuff for Wyndham Clark. He's not too shabby there. We kind of like him at $8,200. Hideki is also someone we're going to be rolling with. And guess what? We're going to just filter by the salary here, rock and roll with this, so that we can do a little comparison of 2 guys who we are doing a matchup with. We've got Hideki and Sam Burns. We've got a message from Mrs. Maniac. There might be a tornado on the loose. Okay, so this is what's cooking with Hideki and Sam Burns. If you take a look at the model ranking, we've got 15th and 64th, minus 134 or 138 on FanDuel for Hideki Matsuyama over Sam Burns. If you take a look at what they've been up to, Sam Burns' course history, 100th in the field. Never played well there before. He's not the best. And it makes a lot of sense because he's around the green play in general is very substandard. We know how important that is at this venue. So we'll see what he can get up to. He kind of screwed us over there with the last 2. I think he gained 4 strokes on approach in the 4th round of the Charles Schwab Challenge to leave the week having gained or lost no strokes on approach. He gained 4 in the final round. So, like, he's just been, like, sporadic. He was looking like he was going to lose a bunch on approach, and then he kind of took it together in the final round and screwed us. But we don't mind. Like, the around the green game for him is bad, and look at this approach play. Just across the board, it's just not good. The best stat he has is green regulations, which is 47th in the field. The recent approach plays 48th. So, like, nothing is trending in the right direction for Sam Burns on approach. That's very important here. And you can't be a bad approach player when your around the green play is not nearly as good as someone like Hideki's. If you take it what he's up to, his approach play has been great lately. His around the green play has been great lately. The putting, not so hot. That's okay. We'll leave that alone a little bit, figure it out. The course history for Hideki, 29th. We know, I think this was the course that the tournament that he had wide out on his driver or his 3-wood and got DQ'd was this year. So that's what happens with Hideki in this golf course. I like him a lot. He's $8,700, 14% owned, 15 from the model. We'll see what we get up to. But we love him over Sam Burns, minus 138 on FanDuel. The comparisons here are just, they stark. Sam's got a little bit more on him on off the tee stuff, but we've seen, like the accuracy for Sam Burns is not necessarily there. The strokes gained out of the rough is not good on approach. So there's not a lot to like. The bogey avoidance rates for Sam Burns, 49th in the field. Bogey avoidance rate for Hideki, 12th. Par 5 scoring, 14th for Hideki, 70th for Sam Burns. So, like, if Sam's not going to be able to take advantage of those par 5s, if he's not going to be able to get up and down when he misses the green, which inevitably will happen a lot of the time, we're going to have some problems. So, minus 138 for Sam Burns to get dominated by Hideki Matsuyama this week, 1 unit, to win 1 unit there. So that's what's cooking with that situation. Let's reorder the model here. Get Sam Burns all the way down to 64th. Wow, that's quite a ranking for the guy, isn't it? So let's keep on scooting down. Justin Thomas has gained or not lost putting in the last 2 events that he's putted since adopting aim point. So that's something to monitor. But also the approach play and the ball striking is just kind of okay for him. He's typically one of the best, but he's hitting a lot of shots, 104th in the field. Like the consistency, he's hitting really bad golf shots. Around this golf course, you can't be doing that kind of nonsense. But he's a really solid around the greens. Par 5 score is pretty good. All that jazz. $9,200, 15% owned. We're going to kind of leave him alone. We're going to go to his buddy old Ricky Fowler, sitting over here at $8,500, 17% owned. Old Ricky. So he's only 9% top 10 rate, which is not the best, but 2 of them I think are T10s, which the model isn't quite pulling in as an actual top 10. I'm not sure what the settings are. I think it's just less than 10 that pulls in a top 10, which is also fine. If you're just T10ing versus inside the top 10ing, we want inside the top 10. I don't know why. That's just how it's going to be. But Ricky, top 20 rate, 64% of the time. Wow. Making pretty much all of his cuts. He's missed 1 cut in the last 11 starts. Inside the top 40, 82% of the time. Oh, boy. Like, the 1 cut he missed was at the PGA Championship. Now we get Ricky out here just consistently crushing. Got a great course history. The recent performances is 7th in the field. Around the green is 7th in the field. Like, hello. The good shot, the weighted poor shots, 11th and 17th. Doesn't hit nearly as many green in regulations as you'd like, but he still gains a lot of strokes. It's really good iron play. So, like, there's a lot to like. The bogey avoidance, the birdie rates, solid stuff for Ricky. He's $8,500. He's going to be chalk again. We're probably going to roll. Like, the guy's on fire right now. Was a definite contemplation to bet him at, like, what, 50 to 1, 45 to 1. I don't know if he's going to win a tournament, but if you're going to keep telling me that 82% of the time, 64% of the time, is a top 20, sign me up for Ricky Fowler. Let's go. Like, woo, Ricky, boy. Let's see what he can get up to. Like what he's up to. Jordan Spieth, 89, quickly about him. The around the green play of the last little while since his wrist has been jacked up is bad. That's usually his, like, get out of jail card free. No, now it's putting him in jail. The guys around the green plays no dice, not good, and it's got to do with that wrist injury that he's had. Since then, it's been poor. The ball striking has been great. Approach 14th off the T29th over the last 24 rounds. Love to see all of that jazz. But course history is great for Jordan, but the around the green play is essential here. It's kind of just left him since the whatchamacallit. So we don't really like Jordan Spieth here at $8,900. The wrist injury is a problem. We'll see what goes on. Skipping over Russell Henley, so talk about these other guys. Corey Connors. Now, Russell Henley's also, I think, in the last 4 tournaments, finished inside the top 20 all 4 times. So he's doing some great stuff too. As you can tell by fifth ranking in the field at the last 24 rounds. $7,900, 11% owned. Kind of appealing, isn't it? But anyway, Let's talk about Corey Connors, the maple syrup magician, the Canadian captain consistency. This guy's ball striking over the last little while, 10th, approach play, 6th. Take a look at what he's been up to recently on the greens and around the greens. The short game seems to have been that not big of an issue anymore, while the ball striking is just marvelous, simply marvelous. He leads the field in weighted green in regulation rates. And we've got some ball strikers in this field, ladies and gentlemen. He is 8th in weighted strokes gained. He's 5th in weighted good shot percentage. And his poor shot avoidance rate is 15th in the field too. He's great out of the rough, 8th and 5th in green in regulation and strokes gained. Love to see that. He's going to scoot over to the scoring stats, not so hot. But what we've seen from him recently is the fact that he's just been playing tremendously. The putting and the around the green play has been much rejuvenated. It's very, very nice. The guy was in contention to win the PGA Championship. He just won at the Bolero. Played nicely at, I think, the Wells Fargo. So there's a lot to like about Corey Connors, and we have bet the guy at 50-1 to win this tournament. I don't know why, but we just feel like with that kind of consistent ball striking and the putter not losing strokes and the around the green game not losing strokes, that's what we like to see. The putter has actually been a weapon for him over the last little while. If you take a look at the putting for Corey Connors, it's 55th. So he's gaining strokes. He is gaining strokes, especially over the last 12 rounds. So you're going to get a lot of that from him, and we get this ball striking that's just repeat city. Just over and over and over and over and over and over again is what Corey Connors does when he puts an iron and a driver in his hand. $8,300, 16% owned. It is what it is. Whatever. We are betting him outright. We are betting him outright. We think he's got a shot. Those irons, that ball striking, rejuvenated short game. Let's freaking go, bro. Corey Connors to the moon. Woo! That's some fun stuff. Let's have a sip here. 42 minutes in. Next up, we got Brendan Todd, 21st in the model. We like ourselves some Brendan Todd. He let us down last week. We can't seem to get him right. We were on him at Bolero when it seemed to make a lot of sense. Makes the weekend, bundles his way down the leaderboard. Just absolutely crumbles down the leaderboard. But he's got the 33rd best course history. The guy's $6,700. 5% owned Brendan Todd. He's plus 165 for a top 40 at an event that he's got the 33rd best course history. So, like there's obviously a few guys that don't have course history that haven't played that will probably beat him. So call it a top 40 course history. That's still fine at plus 165. He top 40s at a 42% clip. He's extremely accurate off the tee. He's fantastic around the greens, and he's one of the best bent grass putters in the field. That was not evident last week on bent grass greens at the Charles Schwab Challenge. We just can't bet these guys to get them to putt the way they should when they should. Him, Justin Rose, even a bit of Bezzy. The putting was atrocious from all three of them early on, and then Bezzy corrected himself. The other two just kept dwindling away in the loser circle. They're just jacking it off on the greens. 3 jack, whatever. That was some bad phrasing. It is what it is. Not good. Not sexual. Not sensual. Let's get it back together this week, bro. Let's see what you can do. Around the greens, the bogey avoidance, solid. For a guy that's $6,700, just got to finish out the top 40 at plus 165. Let's do it. Let's see what we can do. I don't mind it at all. The ball striking is a problem. It is what it is, but we know this guy's around the green play, putting, fantastic. Next up, same situation, a little bit different of a golfer. His name's Adam Svensson. He's 22nd in the model, $6,900 on DraftKings, and he's plus 190 to finish inside the top 40, which he's done about a third of the time this year in his 11 starts. And what he does well, old Svenny Denny, is currently nothing really, if I'm looking at it. He just plays well on medium golf courses, which makes a lot of sense. The putting is okay on bent grass greens, actually. He's pretty solid. Last 50 rounds, pretty impressive. 27th in the field. From 5 to 15 feet, he's 18th. Par 5 scoring, 30th. Bogey avoidance rate, 39th. 2 very important stats inside the top 40 are great. His recent performances, nothing inspirational, but he's 31st in the field in recent form. We're going to get a top 40 at almost 2-1, plus 190. So I love what you can get up to, the distance, is 111th in the field. No dice there. But the accuracy is a bit better. It's 49th. So we'll see. We'll take our chances. The fairway proximity numbers for him on approach, pretty solid. And then the poor shot avoidance rate of 99th is a bit of a concern, but everything else is also average, good. Like does a lot of good stuff across the board. So that's what we don't mind about him. It's like just a solid golfer at $6,900, 2-1 odds to finish inside the top 40. Let's do it. Let's do it, dude. We're gonna roll with him. Siwoo and Shane Lowry, 81.80 or $8,100, $8,000. DraftKings, solid safety options, decent course history. Both seem to be struggling with the putter. Both seem to be crushing it on approach and off the tee. I mean, Siwoo and Shane are like the two Irish Korean twins we didn't know we needed in our lives. Look at this accuracy off the tee, 8th and 11th. Let's just keep on picking the same thing. Strokes gained on approach, 25th and 16th. Love to see that. Out of the rough, 28th and 21st. These guys just can't get away from each other. Then you kind of get into the short game department over the last while on bent grass greens, and Shane Lowry it's actually Siwoo that's the worst putter on bent. Shane's actually a little bit better, actually. So you love to see that from old Shano. We'll see what he can get up to. But from a ball striking standpoint, these two guys fit the mold. They absolutely do. The course history kind of speaks for itself there. Siwoo's had some great course history here before. Playing some good golf too. 41st in the field coming into the week. Kind of conquered his demons there at the Joel Schwab Challenge last week. Made the cut. Beat the Min Woo Lee matchup we never placed. On a golf course that he's typically struggled on a lot in the past. So now we go to a course that he actually likes. I don't mind Siwoo here at all. The guy's balling. I think he's back to the broomstick. I think he was putting with a normal conventional putter, which isn't his jam. Siwoo's the broomstick. He's the Korean Harry Potter. He needs to jump on that thing, wave some magic, and let's go. So let's see what he can get up to. Shane Lowry will like that too. Aaron Rai, didn't bet him. Look at this. The top 40 rates for this guy before last week was like 20% at -120, at +120. Now goes and finished inside the top 40. And guess what? He was the arsehole that finished inside the top 20 that kept Bezzy out of T20 placement. So not only did he finish inside the top 40 that we didn't bet, he was the guy that kicked all the guys that would have finished T20 exactly on the money out of it to T21. So thanks for nothing, Aaron Rai. He's $6,500, 2% owned. The concourse history is great for him. The approach play has been fantastic lately. The accuracy of the tee is so solid. The guy's great in that department. Out of the rough, he's pretty solid on approach. All of that jazz. Putts better on bent grass greens compared to normal. There's a lot to like. Maybe we go back to him. He's obviously going to miss the cut because we kind of can't seem to catch a guy in advance. Screw Aaron Rai. Bye-bye. So let's talk about this guy. 27th in the model. He doesn't necessarily pop in the model because he doesn't really pop in the model. Like there's not a lot that makes sense about this dude. He's kind of like the Indian Seamus Power. Sahith Theegala has made every single one of his 10 cuts so far this year. His course history involves a top 5 and I think a 33rd. So that's nice. He's been playing great golf recently. The driver is all over the place, accuracy-wise. But if he can keep that 2-iron just drilling it down the fairways, kind of doing what he did last year, he's a really solid approach player. His weighted strokes gained. He's a long iron beast. 14th and 13th in proximity. His good shot rates, 12th in the field. Love that. Out of the rough, 10th and 13th. So he is tidy. Around the greens, he's tidy too, 26th. Love that. So the bent grass putting from 5 to 15 feet is pretty poor. But if you take a look at his recent putting performances, 26th in the field, kind of nullifies that a little bit. So we do like what he can get up to. He doesn't grade out well in models, but we're going to bet Sahith Theegala at 60-1 to win this thing. Finished T5 here last year. We've seen him pop up 40%. 4 of his last 10 starts on the PGA Tour have been top 10s. Yes, it's been some short game magic. Yes, it's been Sunday heroics. That's okay. We know that short game is essential around here. He can do that. He can chip and scrape and scratch and claw his way to a top position. We don't need a top 10. We need a win from Sahith Theegala. He's $8,400, 14% owned. He's going to be quite popular. People like him. He's a likable guy. He's going to win this week. We need the first win of Sahith Theegala's career to come this week at the 2023 The Memorial. We're going to roast our marshmallows until it happens head if he wins this thing. We are going to. So we'll see what he can get up to. I love what Sahith is capable of. He's going to win a tournament soon at 60 to 1. It's worth a sprinkle on him there. It's not like you're betting him at 30, 35. It's like a much more manageable number at 60. Let's bet Sahith the guy at 60 to 1 to win this thing. Decent course history, nice recent form, magic around the greens. We'll deal with the driver when we get there. The iron play is fantastic. Let's go Sahith. And then we're going to bet a plus Eric Cole, plus 200 for a top 40. He's been doing it at 57% of the time in his 14 starts. The guy's just been great. I think, did he miss the cut last week at the Charles Schwab when he was pretty chalk? Nah, he's not so much. Look at this, around the green. Last 24 rounds, third in the field. Let's go. 22nd in the field this year in stroke gain approach. Strokes gain around the green. Love to see that. He's just doing his thing. 40th in the field in the last 24 rounds on approach. Eric Cole. Love to see it. Top 40, plus 200. Done it 57% of the time. I don't mind that at all. We'll see what he can get up to. Now, the rest of his game is very mediocre, kind of across the board, but the bogey avoidance with the guy that's got this good a short game means that he's going to be kind of chipping it tidy, maybe potentially even chipping it in from when he's missing the greens, capitalizing on those situations. The bogey avoidance is 15th, par 5 scoring is 22nd. Love to see those. Those are two very important stats. Remember, 25% of our model is based off those two stats. Around the green play is a major correlation to par 5 success. You don't hit a lot of par 5 greens, but you get very close. And if you can chip it to gimme, bang, that's a birdie for you because you're going to be right around those greens. So Eric Cole is one of those guys. The accuracy off the tee, very questionable. Distance also lacking. But that's okay. The guy's a short game wizard. We'll see what he can get up to. Plus 200 to finish inside the top 40. Boom, boom. Let's go. Scooting on down the board. We're going to kind of start rolling here because we are taking a hot minute. Cameron Young, 32nd in the model. I've got far too many Rainmaker cards of Cameron Young for him to be 32nd in my model. No dice, bro. What is going on? What is going on? Just can't putt, just can't chip, just can't do anything right. The course history is very nice. 69. Let's go. The calm course history, 16th. His recent last 24 rounds is 13th in the field in recent form. The last 3 tournaments have just been duds, though. Like he's just fallen off a cliff. So we get a guy that is the best in gaining strokes off the tee on 7,400 yard plus courses. That's nice. We get a guy that's got the second most distance in the field and 13th best driver in the field. That's nice. We get a guy that's got the 15th best strokes gained approach weighted in this field. That's nice. Par 5 scoring for him is still pretty solid, 22nd in the field, despite his short game shenanigans. He needs to just figure it out. Paul Tesori needs to step up to the plate and be there for the guy. We thought that he would get Webb Simpson's old caddy on the bag and the short game problems would be behind us. No. They are worse now. Maybe they've been working on something and kind of one step back, 2 steps forward philosophy. Maybe that's what's happening. But it hasn't been good. Hasn't been good. But we might jump on him at $8,800. A bit of a risky play. You have to put him in about 15, 20% of your lineups to kind of get some leverage there. We'll see what goes on. Not good, Bob. He needs to get it figured out. Can't have that elite skill set off the tee and be dwindling down in the 32nd ranked play in the field here for us. What the hell? What the hell? Let's talk about someone that excites us a bit more, even though he finished T21st. Christian Bezuidenhout. Let's filter on strokes gained approach over the last while. Last 24 rounds, strokes gained approach. We've got Sam Bennett, who's played 4 rounds of golf. Whatever. So let's kick him out of there. We've got Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Colin Morikawa, Wyndham Clark, Corey Connors. Christian Bezuidenhout, Hideki Matsuyama, Emiliano Grillo. Those are some ball strikers, folks. And Bezzy is in the mix with these guys. $7,200. He's one of the cheapest dudes in the field outside of Sam Bennett, who's a ball striker, iron player, shot caller, ball scorer. You know what he gets up. Now, the top 10 rate in 12 starts is Ezekiel, 0. Not good there. But top 40 percentage, 50% of the time. That's okay. It's been a lot better since. The putting has been better. Not ideal last week, but better. What has been really concerning for me is he's typically been a really good around the green player. Like he's 28th in baseline since the start of the year, but over the last 24 rounds, ooh, 108. Like, and that's not, it should be even, you shouldn't be losing that much strokes because you're hitting a lot more greens. You're hitting better, it's like it's better. So I don't know, maybe he's more aggressive. I don't know what's going on. The push out avoidance rate is amazing. So he's not putting himself in predicaments and precarious positions. I don't know what's going on with the around the green play, but we'll see. The bogey avoidance rate of 34th is not bad. He's one of the best bent grass putters. What the hell, dude? Let's get going here. Let's start capitalizing on this ball striking bestiality that we got going on. That's another phrasing problem I had in this pod. Not sure why I associated bestiality with Bezzy, but that's what you're dealing with here on Back Nine Bets on a Sunday, Tuesday, Sunday, whatever day you're listening to this. It's a Tuesday right now. It is what it is. Let's go to Bezzy, $7,200, 6% owned. Decent course history. Let's see if you can figure it out. Let's see if you can figure it out. Moving on down. Let's start wrapping this thing up. Mark Hubbard, Benny on. I see my man Dub Huds in the house. Benny on. Yep, it makes the world of sense. Distance, cool, whatever. Like, we got some distance issues. No. Benny on is third in the field in distance. He's off the tee. The last 24 rounds, he's gained 7 amount of strokes. Let's go there. Fine, let's go. Long golf course, 27th in the field. Around the green, generally, since the year to date, 2023 calendar year, second in the field in around the green, strokes gained. Guy is a magician around the greens. He's behind Matt Kuchar, who's like the maestro. He's the Houdini. Benny on is just Benny on. He's becoming the Houdini. So we'll see what he can get up to. The 85th%, like 85% of his starts are made cuts. Love that. Like he's playing some solid golf again. So let's see what he can get up to. I don't mind Benny on at $7,400. Dub Huds, my man. So yeah, let's go there. Denny McCarthy's dead to us. Missed the cut last week. First cut in forever. Makes like 3/4 of his cuts. Misses it when we have a matchup against Minwoo Lee. Sheesh. Grillo, my main man, won tournament last week. I don't know how it's going to go. We saw with Jason Day what happens when things go south after a win. Will Emiliano Grillo do it? He's 8% owned. I don't know. Adam Scott has made every single freaking cut so far this year. Was in contention at the PGA until he bunkered himself out of it. The course history for Adam Scott is nuts. He's 16% owned, 8K flat. Why did they do this to us? He's going to be chalk. Makes a lot of sense. But check out these odds, folks. Last 24 rounds, 81st in the field. And in general, there isn't a metric over the last year. So 2023 stats, there's nothing better than 73rd. And that's proximity. The poor shot avoidance is 77th. If you're looking for strokes gained, it's 113th. Woo, boy, that's bad. So everybody can take their Adam Scott love and run with it. You know, I understand the driver's going to be a weapon, the putting's going to be a weapon, but we said approach is king here, we're out. Mark Hubbard, on the other hand, yeah. Let's talk about some hubby daddies. Got some hubby lubbies. Strokes gained, weighted, 38th in the field. Recent ball striking on approach, 10th in the field. Let's go. Tidy around the greens, 47th. So he's accurate as well, 47th off the tee accuracy. It is what it is. We'll see what he can get up to. I don't mind his $6,500. He's kind of playing some solid golf. Scooting on down. We like ourselves. Hayden Buckley. Why? Off the tee, accuracy, distance, combination, lethal. Let's go. Solid approach play. Couldn't get it together. Out of all the guys we bet for outrights last week, Hayden Buckley was the only one to gain exorbitant amounts of strokes putting, but lost exorbitant, even more strokes on approach. He just couldn't get it together. Yeah. Is Ricky and Siwoo chalk this week? I think Ricky's going to be mega chalk, but we're going to eat that. Siwoo's kind of rolling in the middle there. Where's Siwoo? Yeah, 13%. Not nearly as bad as we could expect. So, but that could be trending in the opposite direction. You never know, especially that kind of course history as people speak about him. So we don't mind Hayden Buckley again. We'll go back to him. I mean, the iron play was just atrocious last week. If he can bounce back and keep us tidy on that side of things, that'll be good. Brandon Wu used to be everyone's darling at $6,600. 2% owned. This guy's actually really tidy around the greens, and he is the 10th best good shot hitter on the PGA Tour. So if you want to gain half a stroke on a single approach shot, there's only 9 guys in this field that do it better than Brandon Hu. That's not bad. His poor shot avoidance is 31st. So that's also not bad. He somehow, with that kind of poor shot avoidance, is 95th in green regulation rate. So that's interesting. But it still means he's probably just missing in the right places, which makes his around the green play stellar because he's got easy up and downs. So I don't mind that kind of approach from Brandon Wu. Look at the accuracy, 40th in the field. So that's not too shabby. And then everything else is just whatever. So we'll play some Brandon Wu. As always, we've got to talk about Seamus Power. Medium golf course scoring, 13th in the field. Bang. Out of the rough, green regulation rates, 18th in the field. Bogey avoidance rate, it's kind of bad nowadays, 51st. But he used to be our guy. Now he's not. But we're still going to keep going to him at $7,100. That's not bad at all. You know, $7,100, you get a guy that's made 70% of his cuts. Sign us up for that. Let's go. Robbie Shelton. Look at this guy's around the green play. So solid. 14th over the last little while. 32nd over the last 24 rounds. Let's do that, Robbie Shelton. The driver is not nearly as much of a weapon as we could imagine, but the rest of his game is kind of just okay. He's also $6,400. Not going to be getting that much from these guys down here, but around the green, Robbie Shelton's a beast. Makes 62% of his cuts, 46% of the time it's top 40. So that's nice from Robbie Shelton. Matthew Neesmith is someone I kind of have my eye on. 65th in the field, $6,500, sorry. 33rd recent form, nice there. Accuracy off the tee, 22nd. He's a solid driver of the golf ball, keeps it in play pretty nicely. And then you get to these iron stats from across the board. The worst stat he has is 44th, and that's proximity. 43rd in strokes gained approach, weighted. He hits poor shot avoidance rate, 21st. So he's super safe. He's just steady Eddie, does his thing. So we'll see what he can get up to. He's $6,500. I don't mind him at all. Someone that's kind of also been playing some solid golf is Sepp Straka. We can see him get it together. He kind of dials in the driver with some accuracy every now and then, gets his thing going, and his approach play has been solid this year. Hits a lot of greening regulations because of that accuracy. Love to see that from him. And then we're going to go with that. I think that's just all we need to know about old Sepp Straka at $6,600. 5% of the people like him. So that's what's going on there with Sepp. Keith Mitchell, $7,600. He's made 82% of his cuts in 11 starts. And he's one of the best drivers of the golf ball in the world, not just this field. He's third in the field off the tee, which is most likely behind what? Patrick Cantley and Scotty Scheffler. So those are 2 elite drivers of the golf ball. Keith Mitchell sits in third. Unfortunately, Keith Mitchell's also an unelite approach player. 126th in recent approach, and around the green has been just as bad. And there's no chance for Keith Mitchell to get it together. His iron play is crap, but we saw what happened at the PGA Championship. You roll with the driver, get some confidence. Maybe the rest of your game can kind of take care of itself. We'll see what he can get up to. He's not a bad bent grass putter either. So there's little bits of pieces here and there. We'll take our chances with Keith Mitchell at $7,600, 4%. Cam Davis goes from being mega chalk last week to $7,700 and 4% the week after missing a cut. So that kind of rode the wave for not very long. His recent form is solid. He's $7,700. He kind of comes and goes. He goes, made cut, top 10, miscut. Makes the cut, top 10, missed the cut. Make the cut, T59. Next one, top 10. Like, he's just kind of up and down doing his thing. Off the tee, distance, long golf, driving holes, loves that. Nice on bent grass putting from 5 to 15 feet. He's inconsistent. That's what you're going to be getting. We don't mind him at $7,700 at this kind of ownership at all. We'll see what he can get up to. I don't know. Played very nicely at the PGA Championship. You could kind of argue it's a similar kind of a course. Maybe not. I don't know. There's decent whatever. Cheers, folks. $6,200, 2% owned. The guy has been balling out of his mind. The last 24 rounds, we get a $6,200 golfer that's got the 32nd best strokes gained total. Yes, he's been putting greens, but he's also been hitting his irons really well. 20th in the field in strokes gained approach of the last 24 rounds. Cheers out here doing God's work for us at $6,200. Check out this strokes gained number here and the good shot rate. 15th in the field in weighted good shots. 15th. Wow. Out of the rough, 18th and 7th. in strokes gained and green regulations. Love to see that from Ches. The rest of the stuff makes no sense. We're kind of clinging on to his recent form, and it's been great. At $6,200, people are expecting a meltdown. Ches is cheesy. We are throwing that in the microwave, throwing it all over our quesos, all of our burritos, all of that jazz. Let's go, Chesy, and let's get it done again. He's been playing great golf. Look at this course history as well. Makes a lot of sense. Great stuff. Accuracy, irons, putting, bang. I mean, if you're accurate, if you've got good irons, your around the green play can kind of suffer a little bit, especially if you're knocking it very tight, gaining half a stroke on approach in a single shot, more than the majority of the field. For Ches Reedy, $6,200. Wow. Let's go, Ches. Sam Ryder, best putter in the field, cannot hit a green, cannot hit a fairway. Terrible off the tee. Terrible off the tee. So we don't want him at all. But what we do want is Justin Suh. Accurate off the tee, a good putter, and his solid approach play. Love what we've been getting up from this guy, and he's been making 92% of his cuts. Justin Suh in 13 starts made 92% of his cuts. $6,900. So if you're going to just tell me that that's the price you're paying for a 92% success rate to make the cut, let's go. Sign me up there. Ryan Fox in the model doesn't have any stats in the PGA Tour website still, so that's what we get from Ryan Fox. His safety rating is 83rd. Only played 6 tournaments, but he's been jamming, playing some solid golf. He's got some solid distance and accuracy kind of accompanied with it, but we told you don't have those stats, so that's probably a lie. But we know that the distance is there, and he tends to avoid poor shots pretty well. This is in data golf, so it's kind of reflective. The stats are crap for Foxy, but we know what we're getting from a results perspective. 83% of them are made cuts, some T20 potential. And then our final guy I want to talk about is Tristan Lawrence, the CN of China from South Africa. He's only played 2 tournaments. One of them was a made cut. So we'll see what he can get up to. He's a flat 6,000. Sam Bennett's going to be $6,300 by him there. Sam Bennett, we know what he can get up to around golf courses like Augusta. He's a baller. I don't think not playing Sam Bennett's not a bad idea. I think you got to get him in your lineups at $6,300. He obviously gives you incredible ball striking potential. We will see. Dub Hub's asking, last one, Bez. What about Bez, dude? I think he's not going to be that chalky at all, I don't think. But we got to finish up on Tristan. We'll see what he can get up to. I don't mind him at 6K flat. You never know these South African bent grass greens as well. We've grown up on them. We do our thing on them. Let's rock and roll there. Old Tristan, get your stuff together. So our 3 outrights so far. Corey Connors, 50-1. So hit the gala, 60-1. Cyril Hatton, don't roast marshmallows on my head at 31-1. We are going to find a winner from those 3 guys, potentially going to be looking at getting a guy on the card as the tournament unfolds, potentially eyeing out a Matthew Fitzpatrick in particular. I'm kind of leaning his way. And if Patrick Cantley kind of gets off to a slow start, I don't mind getting on board with him at like 25-1 or something like that. Can't get there at 10. We are kind of priced out of the market this week. But that's what's cooking. Some other placement bets. We've got Tom Kim plus 220 for a top 20. Matt Kuchar plus 240 for a top 20. Brendan Todd plus 165 for a top 40. Adam Svensson plus 190 for a top 40. Eric Cole plus 200 for a top 40. Then Hideki Matsuyama minus 138 over Sam Burns. Let's see what he can get up to. Let's win a matchup. Let's win some bets. Let's take down this tournament. Thanks for tuning in, folks. We love you. Good luck. Happy Memorial Week from last weekend. Let's have ourselves the Memorial 2023 fantastic.